How about that? Welcome everyone to Light News Radio, Realms of Self-Empowerment. I really enjoy our new bumper music. Amazing, upbeat, spiritually powerful, and to the point. Rock and roll. Thank you to our producer, Nesha, for such a rockin' intro. I am Dr. J, your host, and my talented, typically titillating co-host is Deirdre Layton. Together, we diligently work to bring you spiritual awakening with a grounded spirituality, to learn the metaphysics of the whole human being. Light News Radio features interviews with those illuminated people who are walking their spiritual talk. We are your hosts, here to help you live a more self-aware, spiritually awakened life, and to offer the tools and techniques to help you empower your journey. Come aboard and travel the light waves with us for the next hour. What a rockin' intro, Deirdre. How are you today?
I'm great. You know what? It's so funny because I have been waiting for a long time for us to have this intro. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear what the exit's going to be.
I know, excuse the jet going overhead, but that was four jets flew over to honor our new intro. And so it's kind of like, the start of a major game. But yeah, we are just rocking and rolling with this. And like Deirdre said, we've been trying to get this new bumper music up for 6 months. But Nisha, our producer, is also a musician, and he created that wonderful piece. So I hope you really enjoyed it because you're going to hear it again at the end. So, Deirdre, first day of spring on Sunday, and here we are in the Northern Hemisphere starting to get more and more photons of light and the ability of the seed to put forth a shoot. Only problem, can't get the shoot back in the seed once it's opened up.
Yeah, and
I know someone's got some heavy breathing going on into the phone there. I didn't think it'd be that exciting to our listeners.
I think it's our guest, but I had just a whole bunch of squealing in my ear. So, listeners, this is live radio, and you just never know what you're going to get, especially over Skype. So, I am excited to be on the show with you today. And yes, you were talking about spring and how everything starts to blossom at this time of year. And I also think that it is a perfect time of year to really start to do some self-reflecting and looking at where you are in life and where you want to be, because everybody seems to jump on the bandwagon January 1st,
That's
after
right.
Christmas. They want to do this and they want to do that. And they just, make all these New Year's resolutions. And it's usually about this time of the year that
And all
those
that
resolutions.
Yeah, and all that spanking brand new exercise equipment is just about now moved to the garage.
That's right. So, really, January 1st isn't the time of year that you should start looking at that. It's now. It's spring. It's when the equinox is there. And I mean, this is a powerful time around right now with the full moon and with everything else going on, that when you put your intention out there and you really focus on it and take some time to be and just look inside and really feel what's important to you, then you have more of a chance of fulfilling that which you start. And
Exactly.
Spring is all about new start, new growth, taking a look at the bigger picture as it develops and just, being part of that sacred feminine and really relaxing and being part of all of that is. I mean, it's a great time of year. I absolutely love this time of year.
Well, you certainly sound wound up and ready to go, and it really is a good time. I mean, last night I was flying back to San Diego by way of Montana from Canada with my parrot, and I was looking out and I see the full moon there, shining down on all the land, and it just reminds me of our cosmic heritage. Here we are getting so wrapped up in the little things of life, and we kind of forget about what's really going on and what's really important. One of the things I think about is spring also brings to mind family. Your children, grandchildren, your parents, and what's it all about if we don't have family, to reflect on. So I hope the listeners will use this moment of coming forth in spring to also look around them and see the beauty of what it is to have a family, Can you imagine if you didn't have one? Right? It'd be so
Hmm?
very, very different. So this is a great time. The other thing is, Deirdre has this amazing propensity to always bring forth some kind of light from any situation. Although,
Oh,
she and I,
gee.
we're working almost every single day. We really don't take that much time off. It may seem like we do, but we don't. And one of the things I like about my co-host is she has this ability to bring forth all of this light. The word is called effulgent, one who comes with a lot of light. So Deirdre
I've
becomes
been
a
struggling.
very good. What's that?
I said I've been struggling with that a lot lately. As we're talking about this time of year being about growth and rebirth and all of that, it's also a time of year of letting go, right? And when you come out of hibernation, such as
It's
the
true.
bear will come out of hibernation, you
It's
have to
true.
let things
It's
go.
true.
And
You and I both had some powerful lessons in just the last 10 days on that just before spring.
I know just about letting things go. I've been renovating and getting rid of and whatnot, clearing our house for the last little while,
Mm.
and somehow some very precious items, and that's just it. They were items,
Yeah,
went missing.
things.
Things,
Yeah.
and
Well, you
and
had
I have
collected for charity, right? You were collecting clothes and whatnot for charity, and somehow these wonderful things that were given to you were got put in some kind of
accidentally,
bag and went to charity.
yeah,
Interesting too, because for me last week, this laptop I use, I have a really good laptop that I like because I do so much work on it, and the actual screen went dead. So I have to use an external monitor if I want to use this laptop at all. And it's kind of a way of saying, well, all right, certain things you count on every day that you see that you have in your life, you can't always count on what is visible. And then here come the spiritual teachers saying, well, you must count on that which is invisible. It is more real than that which is visible. And sometimes you want to just take those spiritual teachers and smack them, because you had your precious things, Deirdre, that for all intents, are somewhere else on the planet right now. And, my computer have to deal with that. But this is what happens. We don't always realize how connected we are to everything, everywhere, every time, that there really is no separation. And it's one of the greatest lessons is that there's more to it than being connected by a phone or an iPad,
mhm.
that we are connected spiritually and that the answers we seek really, really, really are within us.
Oh,
But
I know.
I
Yeah,
think you and I, we get these lessons. And like you said, spring comes forth. We get these lessons to remind us that it's not about the things we have in life, it's about each other.
yes, yes. The importance of being in balance and harmony and really being with ourselves in a good place. And that would be, family, friends, co-workers, anything along those lines. So yeah, I totally agree. And that's one of the reasons I look forward to shows like we're having today is because, we bring on our guests that are people who, like you say, walk their talk,
Well,
and they.
you know what's funny though too is we can say this because our guest isn't on yet, so we can say whatever we want. Our our guest our guest today has this amazing ability to stitch people to other people, kind of like pulling the ringlets of a purse. She just has this amazing ability to bring people and events and situations together. Excuse the jet going overhead, guys. It's the pattern. They're still honoring our bumper music. And I really, really enjoy, and I think that our guest and you, Dee, have some of these things in common. That you're both very happy souls, very lovely women, and you just have this amazing ability. People are soothed being around you. But I wanted to ask you a question, Dee, before we get any further in our show.
Sure.
Continuing on what you said about, those things that were very dear to you that somehow went out with the charitable donations.
Hmm.
Having had some of those very, very dear things to you, you know what you're talking about. What would you tell our listeners
Oh my goodness.
about? Well, no, but what I'm saying is, what would you tell our listeners how it's bittersweet? Like, there's a
Well,
lesson, you don't
oh
like it,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? But there is
Oh,
one.
Well, and the funny thing is I kind of gave myself some stress over it, which I really should not have done. And I did lose sleep over it as well. But it was being able to talk to other people to work through it that I found peace. And
I see.
what I did was I actually mentioned what I had done and what had happened to a girlfriend of mine who immediately informed me that she accidentally had done the same thing, except she had thrown out a very precious tie to her husband that had been his grandfather's. And I thought, we all do this at some point in our lives. We all lose things or misplace things or even get robbed. I mean, 20 years ago, my car got broken into while we were picnicking 20 feet away and we never heard a thing. And my daughter's cello got stolen and
Yeah,
a
same
bunch of
thing happened to
other
my
things.
parents. Yeah,
And it makes you, well, in some ways it makes you a little more humble. In other ways, and that probably isn't the right word in the right tense, but what I'm trying to say is it makes you realize that things aren't here forever,
exactly.
and you take a moment to reflect and know that the important things that are in your life will always be there, even if they aren't here. You know, like
That's right.
when you lose a parent or something, they're always going to be there. But these were material things. They meant something to me, and now that they're gone, it doesn't mean that they don't mean anything less to me. But it just means that maybe someone else is having a lot of joy from them.
Well, no, but thank you for that because I think
Yeah.
our listeners, benefit from how we feel about when things happen to us because I think that's part of the authenticity is, it's easy to be what they call a talking head on a radio or a television program where you're dispensing all this advice without any real life experience yourself. And that's why, Deirdre and I work very diligently as being as authentic and forthcoming as we can because spirituality can be so misused. It can be so manipulated and maligned. And therefore, when we bring our guests on, we're looking for our guests who are authentic and who do walk their talk because the very subject of spirituality, some people become dismissive just when they hear the word. And it's
Oh, yes.
because they really don't know what it is. And so Deirdre and I work very hard to find guests who have this understanding of the innate, intimate nature of what spirituality is.
Yeah, and it's really important to do that. I think it's so important for people to be able to not only hear the message but to understand the message. And as Richard said, we look for listeners. Anyone can come and be on our show. We would love to have you, give us a shout at 877-242-5721 or to email me at info@lightnews.org because we're always looking for someone to come on the show, and it would be really great to have you, even though it might be 6 months down the road, but that's okay. We just
Yeah,
really, really enjoy being able to
exactly.
share this knowledge with others. And so with that being said,
Our website is
www.lightnews.org, and it's being updated all the time. You can also find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us in LinkedIn, on Facebook. Where else are we? Oh my goodness, meetup. We have meetups in both San Diego and in Calgary and San Jose. And, just check us out because we'd love to have feedback. And you can send us any type of feedback through any of those types of social media. And it would be great to hear from you. So, Richard,
okay. Yes,
we
let's do it.
we we have a really cool guest today, and she is an energy healer, but she's also a nurse. She's graduated from your program. She doesn't just work with the energies; she also works with sound energies. She works with the biofield tuning. She's practiced Reiki for several years, healing touch program, Qigong, all these
Hmm.
different types of modalities. And
Hmm.
what I really like about our guest, who is Lori Rhoades, is that she is able to pull everything together. And what she has done is she has just taken it that one step further so that when someone comes to see her or when she's doing work with people, they get the full meal deal. They just don't
So,
get the,
so we're going to be perched on the edge of our seats as she gives one of the most eloquent expressions of one's personal spirituality we've ever heard, Dee.
well, I hope so. Lori,
And she's
uh,
going, "Oh my gosh!" right now. Let's bring her on.
hey, Lori, are you there?
I am here. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And that was quite an introduction. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the
well,
walks on water part is really good too.
Exactly. It's so funny.
well,
I moved back into my into the indoors out of my car because there was a lot of ambient noise and trash trucks and all kinds of interesting fun things.
Yeah,
So I
and
did
when the
move back
crowd
into
starts
my
to
office.
gather around you, that can be distracting
Right.
too.
Right, exactly. It's so funny because Dee, as you were talking, I'm sitting here in my office and I'm looking at one of the little just this little plaque that I bought recently and put in my office that basically just says "Let it go." And I don't even know, it just I kind of picked it up the other day. I was actually at a hospital gift shop after seeing some patients, and it kind of spoke to me. And I thought at some point that's going to have even more and more relevant meaning. And so I just kind of look at it throughout the day, and
yeah,
and it really does speak to me because if you really think about letting go, there's all kinds of visuals that you can conjure up in your mind, but really we think about our hands for the most part when we're looking at something physical, because um, holding on to something generally implies that we are doing that with our hands, which are these beautiful vehicles that we have connected to our heart. And this came to me a couple of times now that a couple of friends have said this, and I think I've read it over the last few days, that it is so much easier to have an open palm than a closed fist.
Hmm.
yes,
And, and I thought, well, why is that? Why is it that way? And, you were speaking of things missing or things gone, and I was thinking, well, wow, now there's a space, right? Now there's
Yeah,
an
yes,
open palm for something else to actually come in, right? How
that's true.
wonderful is that? And what do we want to do with that? And I think, that's kind of what my experiences have been of late, and in lots of different reflections in my life. So I just had to kind of let you know that as you were speaking, I was reading the words right in front of me. It was
oh,
wonderful.
wow.
Yeah,
Well,
one
Yeah.
cannot fill a cup that's already full, right? We've heard it so many
Yeah.
times.
Yes.
Well, and
Yes. Exactly.
now that I have, processed this I mean, it's been 3 weeks I've been processing, and it's just finally this last week that, I was able to finally come to terms with, hey, you know what? It's just something that happened. But I feel more at peace with it. And actually, I feel more at peace with a lot of other things that are going on in my life right now, too. And I think that what it was a lesson just to say, hey, you know what? You need to slow down. You need to breathe. You need
It's so
to
true.
focus on what is important right here, right now. And,
Mhm.
stay there, stay on that path and don't get hung up on the little details that really aren't that important at this moment in time. And that,
Mhm.
that's one thing
You
that I
know, that
think that's the big lesson that I've
it
learned.
is. And that's one of the things I like about Lori, as we shamelessly talk about her, is that you give the impression of being very grounded, thoughtful, and present. And ever since I've known you, you've given this persona to others, which I think is soothing, as I had said earlier. So let me ask you a question before we get too deeply into our other questions. For our listeners, Lori, what would you define as grounded?
I've grounded. I've thought a lot in the past, thought a lot about that, and even presently. And my definition of that sometimes changes, actually. But I think for me, being grounded is really, in a way, allowing my thinking mind to settle, allowing my thinking mind to quiet, and then allowing my being to drop into my heart, to feel my presence in this moment, to know that I am light in form, which is very much connected to the earth, and to feel my feet upon the ground, literally, and just to be here now. And really, a really wonderful way of grounding for me, and I think for everyone, is to really listen. And so listening is truly an art. I mean, I think you've heard the saying, we have two ears and two eyes and one mouth, so we should probably be listening, and seeing twice as much as
That's a
we
good point.
speak. Here we are speaking, but grounded to me is that place of listening, because in the moment everything is going to change, and being grounded doesn't actually mean staying in one place and being locked. It really means being willing actually to change in every moment. And so for me, listening is really the willingness to change.
Being attentive.
It really is. Being attentive, paying attention, having that awareness. And in a way, it brings yourself into the equation, and yet it takes yourself out of the equation at the same time, because you're just really able to not hear with your ears, but really listen with every part of your being, which is really that present moment awareness. So listening is, and for me, I just personally, I have kind of an inner sound that I listen to. People have called it the voice of the angels, the voice of our ancestors, the singing of the sphere, just kind of a high-pitched ringing that's not organically a disease process or anything. It's just this beautiful sound that if we're quiet enough, we can kind of all hear in the inner sound. And I've had a teacher that has helped me to actually cultivate that very, very well. And also the inner light, that closing your eyes and seeing kind of just that grain-like texture. But it's taking a few moments at every pause in your day, whether you're at a stoplight, or whether you're waiting in line at the grocery, or whether you're doing the dishes or folding the laundry, or any of our doingness in those pauses, to really listen. And to me, that is grounding.
There are people who, when you're talking to them, they're already preparing an answer before you've even finished explaining yourself. And to me, those people are not really listening and waiting to answer. They're already preparing a response of what they think without really entertaining what you think.
Yeah. They're not really listening. They're hearing in a way, but just to the circumstances.
What was the word?
They're hearing.
Hearing.
They're hearing, but they're not. Yes, but they're not really listening. And so listening is it comes from.
It's a tool.
All of your being, and then what happens when we're listening, especially to another or even to nature, whatever we're listening to, that inner sound, whatever it is, it becomes kind of a collaboration, and really it means it's like the me becomes a we, the ME becomes a WE, and you're sort of getting out of the way of yourself and what you believe and think, and you're taking that out of the equation. And so instead of, as ideas are taught and imagination comes forward, instead of it being your idea and my idea and his idea and her idea, it becomes the first idea, and then the second idea, and then the third idea, and it's built upon a very unified, I'm going to say this kind of in a way to make it perhaps understandable, an unlabeled way. We're not placing
that's beautiful.
we're not placing labels. And I think really when we're letting go or we're surrendering, what we're really surrendering is the control of the circumstances, the control of the labels and the meaning that we've attached to everything.
That's right.
And,
I love that. I knew you'd have a good response.
it's very interesting.
It brings me to think about, vulnerability, and what role that has to play in everything that's happening at the same time, right? I mean,
right.
We have to be open and we have to allow the change. We have to be vulnerable to what is happening so that we can grow too. Is that not correct?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. It's funny because I'm experiencing that in my own personal relationship with my husband. And it was interesting when you said, oh, yes, Lori is just this beautiful, soothing quality. I said, well, you might want to talk to my husband. Get a slightly different perspective. But yeah, it's such an organic, beautiful relationship.
Yeah,
it's
but if you...
just a lovely, lovely thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you got along on every single point, what kind of relationship would that be?
Exactly.
There'd be nothing there.
I told we're planting in the garden. It is spring, as you said, and so we're planting and we're using fertilizer. And I said, well, honey, we've got 34 years of quote fertilizer that we can now use to plant these new seeds of intimacy, and how beautiful that is, and how transparent it is. One of the things that I've been doing lately that's so much fun is I've been involved in a lot of improv classes and the art of improv. And believe it or not, life is improvised.
Well, what is improv?
Yeah, tell me about
really
that.
Is.
What is improv?
Yeah.
Like I hand you a hammer and then you just start making humor with it?
Yeah,
that really didn't sound right. Sorry.
There's nothing wrong with funny hammers.
I'm just envisioning somebody getting bonked over the head with a hammer. I'm sorry. It was just my mind elsewhere.
All that talk on groundedness just got hammered.
Oh gosh.
Sorry.
One of the really beautiful things about improv is that it allows us to play again, which I think is so important. As children, we all know how to do that. We know how to play. And we do know how to surrender into the moment, because when we're playing, it's not really so much about what we're doing. It's really about how we're doing it. And so there's a lot of, and the what is all the circumstance, all the stuff, that's in front of us. I think I love Eckhart. One of the things that Eckhart Tolle said that always sticks in my mind is, you are not what is happening, this, that, good, bad, indifferent, good, bad, indifferent, but you are always the space for what is happening. And I just thought that was so beautiful, and because that's the how. And we don't always know the how. It's like, well, how do I do that?
No.
How do I do that?
And that's the hard
don't
part.
Know that.
Because that's the one thing we do want to know.
That's the one thing we do want to know. But and that's why it takes surrender. And surrender comes with a lot of different words: faith and trust, and kind of a little bit of, hey, relax, just relax and play a little bit. And so play. But the beautiful thing about play, and children will tell you this, is that it happens here in my body in this moment. And as we get older, we start to take things so seriously.
I know. You're so right. You are so right.
And then play becomes work, and work is thinking. It's the thinking mind. It's the mental processes. And I mean, even yesterday, you were asking me to just let go of worry. that's what it is. It's a little bit in the future or a little bit in the past. It's that thinking mind that goes around and around.
Mm.
And then the now moment of the play, and continuing the play is kind of lost. So that's part of what improv is. Another really important aspect for me, and this was so opening for me about improv, is to let yourself fail. And it's so important. It's not just fail.
So let yourself fail.
Let yourself fail. I mean, everybody, to fail is easy. We do that all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the challenge is to be able to be okay with actually letting yourself fail and accepting that, failure is kind of a natural part of things. It's the kind of the breaking down and the
It is.
rising back up.
But what's the one thing that we disdain?
Yeah,
Failures. It's like in our
failure.
society. Who remembers
Right.
who came in second, right?
Right, exactly. And hopefully we all are here to have fun and to be successful. But in order to really know success, here's the big part of this. Failure is not a negative thing, because when we fail at something, if you fail, it doesn't make you a failure. What it means is, I failed, and because I'm an improviser, I'll just start again.
Many people tacitly buy into that, though, because if you look at the news, whether it's in print or internet or on the TV, it's always about money. The money thing comes first. This person won this much money. This one's ahead. And it always comes down to a material thing rather than an intrinsic thing like feelings, love, trust. And we consider ourselves successful when we have more material things, or when we have that trophy partner, or whatever that is. And the spiritual life embraces that a failure was not a good or a bad thing, but how you attach to it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That it's the effort that defines the nature of a person's character, not just sitting around worrying, but that you make the effort defines you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It really does. And to make the effort is to be actually, and this is another part of having kind of an improvisational life, is to actually be saying yes, yes to what is arising in the moment, whatever it is, because that continues, that's your life, that is your life. And if you want to define, which in a way is telling the story, right? It's the story of our lives. It's the definition of who we are, which we are. We're in this beautiful story called life. And to continue it on, you have to say yes, kind of in the moment. There's this wonderful improvisational artist. His name is Dave Morris, and he kind of brings the audience into what that is by saying, a little example is if you just say yes to everything I say in this example. If I said, do you want me to tell you a story? And you would say, yes. So go ahead and say yes.
Yes.
Yes. And do you want the story to be about a princess?
Yes.
And do you want the story to be with the princess in a tower waiting for her prince to come rescue her?
Oh, yes.
And do you want the prince to have, do you want the prince to have to meet a dragon as he's coming across the land?
Oh,
look up at that dragon. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Here the story goes. Here the story goes, right? And now what I want you to do when I ask you the same question is just to say no. Okay. So, okay. Do you want to tell a story with me?
No.
No.
Oh. Okay.
I know. It's just totally defeating, isn't it?
It
just
stops
really
everything. It's like you can have 10,000 yeses, and this beautiful life, and one no is gonna, that's it. One no is gonna just. So it's okay. That's why even in your yeses, you may fail. You may fall down. It's like, I said yes to that, and look at this. But you get back up and you say yes again, and you get back up and you say yes again.
I got a question for you. How
Yeah.
because I know that you do a lot of energy work with tuning forks and Reiki and other modalities. How would you take that and those lessons that you learn from the improv and use
hmm
it in your personal work, in the work that you do with others?
Well, I love sound. I love the. I really do think we came from that. I mean, if you going all the way back to quote the Big Bang, it was a bang. Or even in the Bible, it says, "In the beginning there
Oh, yeah.
was the Word." Right?
Right.
We are this
There was
vibrational
movement.
essence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This vibrational essence. And then from that vibration came frequency, which came light. And so it's this beautiful organic structure. And to me, as I've been a nurse for a long time. I've seen a lot of different bodies and a lot of different energy bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And I've started to kind of, as I've started playing with tuning forks, I really can see how the human body and the biofield as much like an instrument. Each of the organs have kind of a frequency, and they're sort of playing a tune. Your liver is playing a tune. Your heart is playing
Mm-hmm.
a tune. If you think about listening to a beautiful ensemble of music with horns and guitar and drums and wind instruments, and everything's playing together, a violin, a piano, it's just this beautiful, masterful music piece. And even when everybody's playing from a sheet of music, everybody's on this quote on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that particular song is played, it's just a little bit differently. You might have a different violinist.
Right.
You might have a different pianist. You might have a little different instrument. So it's never quite the same. And so that's kind of how I'm, it's sort of a metaphor for using tuning forks with the body. Now think about it. If you're listening to this beautiful piece of music and one instrument, say a very prominent instrument such as the violin, is out of tune, it's really on a way different chord,
Mm-hmm.
you'll hear it. You can hear it. You go, oh, that doesn't sound right. It doesn't go with the rest. And it's this sort of discordant sound. And even now you're still listening to the entire orchestra, but now your focus is just completely on that out-of-tune violin.
Of course.
Sort of taking all of your energy, right?
Right. Whatever's not harmonious.
Right. Whatever's not harmonious. And so that's kind of what happens, and in my opinion, and what I've learned from teachers that I've worked with, in our biofield, when we have an emotion or an event in our lives that is not really aligned with the truth of who we are. So we have an event that maybe creates an unworthy quality within us, or the belief that we're not worthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is totally upside down from the truth of who we are. We are abundantly and infinitely and endlessly worthy. And so we get, conditioned. It could have been anything your parent said, or a friend, or just a circumstance that puts you in that, the out of alignment. So that kind of discordant sort of chord actually remains in your biofield. And
Okay.
just like in your physical body, there's a place where your liver sits, and there's a place where your heart sits, and there's a place where your brain sits. These sort of discordant emotions actually also have places in the biofield that have been mapped. And there's certain things on the right, and they're usually to the left and the right of us, essentially. There's things that are kind of swirling out here on the left side and some on the right. For instance, they found that over the right hip, about 18 inches off the right hip, there's just this beautiful little container for guilt and shame. It's literally guilt and shame, right?
Good to know.
And it's just where it sits. It's really where it sits, and a lot of people, when you're having, it's interesting to look at in the lower back, or having trouble with. A lot of people get hip replacements, especially as they get older. It's very interesting to kind of look at what's mapped in the biofield. And on the left of the hip is sort of a frustration and oftentimes resentment. and that kind of sits there, and it's just sort of whirling around. And
You mentioned biotuning, though.
So what biofield tuning does with tuning forks is it's sort of the way you would tune a piano, in a sense. They do use tuning forks for that. So you go into the field, and as I'm listening, I'm not just hearing. So I'm listening with every part of my body, and really, especially from my heart, that central point of me. I can listen to the music, the frequency that is being projected and emanated from this beautiful melody, the symphony of this body that I see in front of me, this beautiful, wonderful person. And as I'm coming into the field and I hear that out of tune, out of alignment piece, we can hold the fork in the field, which is this beautiful pure tone. And basically, how can I say this? Well, truth trumps a lie. Is sort of
okay.
So
the
purity of that fork. And by the way, when they've looked at the vibrating tuning fork in a strobe light, the pattern of frequency and light that is between the two ends of the fork create a figure 8. They go back and forth like a figure 8, back and forth, back and forth. So it's the infinity symbol between the tines.
Oh wow, like a toroidal
energy. And so you're holding this beautiful kind of beacon of truth, this pure tone, and then that it kind of also works to remind the body. You're holding it out there, and the body says, "Ooh, what is that?" The body says, "Wow, that sounds different than what's sitting out there," and the body sort of readjusts itself to be more entrained with and aligned with that pure frequency and that pure vibration.
Wow.
So
what is the vehicle? What is the vehicle by which that happens? Are you saying that you are a part of the tuning fork and you're entering the person's biofield and making assessments as you go?
Yes, I'm being a reflection for them. I'm being a facilitator. In other words, if you were going to climb a fence, I'm not actually pushing you over the fence or even helping, really even making the fence lower or cutting down the fence for you. What I'm doing is kind of putting my hands together and giving you a place to put your foot so that you can get a boost up so that then you can climb over the fence, because we're only ever healing
we heal ourselves.
Right. So it's just kind of a facilitator, a mirror, if you will, and or a reflection. It's helping the body, because the body has this beautiful innate wisdom and this blueprint, which the biofield does as well. So it's reminding that beautiful divine blueprint of what it truly is. And those things that are obstacles or, discordant or creating disturbance or static, so to speak, in the field, as though if you were tuning into a radio station and it was a really clear signal, you would hear the broadcast wonderfully. And, sometimes when you're not in the greatest place, you hear all that static and you can still hear the radio, but it's not so clear. It's not as enjoyable. So that's kind of what the tuning forks do, is they allow us to kind of, work with those and clear those. And they do have roots to them. And sometimes it's not, in other words, they have starting points, kind of where did that get started? And
well, you're a practitioner of this biofield tuning, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Is that something that can be done remote? Can that be done remotely as well as in person?
Yes, absolutely.
I know Deirdre's laughing because she's got 50 more questions.
Well, I'm just thinking we need to book you for another show, because holy cow, all of the information is just, we could be on here for 2 hours or more.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting back here going, oh, okay, I can relate. I get that. Oh yeah. And I wrote my reverendship paper on sound healing and that we came from the word, and the word is sound. And, it's just, everything is totally connecting with me. And I'm going, I need to interrupt her because she has to shamelessly self-promote herself.
Well, that's right. We're saying, do you offer sessions, Lori?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Do you offer sessions?
I do for sessions, and and it's beautiful work. I sort of combine a lot of different modalities, but really what I'm doing is reflecting in the moment what that beautiful, what I call the other self, that it looks like a person in front of me, but we're all connected, what they're reflecting and what they're needing in the moment. And then I kind of play to that. It's really improvised. I never know what's going to happen in a session. It's really an improvisation.
How can they get a hold of you? How can people get a hold of you?
For the biofield tuning, I don't have my own website yet. I'm working on that, but they can go to biofieldtuning.com. And on that website, which is the website of one of my teachers, Eileen McCusick, she has a list of practitioners, and I am listed in that. And you can also, I'm happy to, on that website is my phone number, where you can get a hold of me. And you can also email me at l.rhoades, RHOADES, at cox.net.
And what is that again?
It's L as in Lori, .Rhoades, RHOADES, at cox.net.
Okay.
COX.net, yeah. So, and because we're working in the ethers, because we're working really with the body as just one form, and all of the other bodies that really make up most of us, this works extraordinarily well from a distance.
Okay.
So, Lori,
well, that's good to know.
If listeners were to go home from our little talk with you today with something that would be empowering for them, what would you tell them?
A little giggle.
Life is so simple, but it's not easy sometimes. But what I would tell them really realistically is to relax and have fun. Just go out there and play with what arises, and fail and screw it up, and we're always and this is something that I've learned, we're really tense when we have to do it right. Oftentimes if we just wake up in the morning and take a deep breath and say, wow, hey, there's rules in life, and I got to kind of follow some of those rules. We're still in Rome, believe it or not, and I kind of have to do what the Romans do. But I'm going to be relaxed about it. And I'm going to just kind of end up playing and letting myself, go, and end up listening to people better. Because when I'm relaxed, I'm going to end up saying yes more. And I'm going to end up saying and more. Yes, and what else? And
right.
Playing and having fun. And life is just much more enjoyable that day. And I would also say to, instead of holding your fists tight, just kind of visualize yourself opening them and creating that space for what might fall through, and really surrendering to that. This life, I'll share one other vision that I had the other day as I was thinking about movement forward, and as we walk into the world. As I took a step, I was thinking, wow, what if this was the foot of God? What if this was the foot of the infinite taking a step forward? How would that feel? To the foot of allness, of everything, of abundance, of having it all, taking a step with that in mind every time. Because otherwise, what is there to lose? Oftentimes we don't want to take that step forward because we feel like we're going to lose something. We're going to make the wrong choice. We're not going to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to, and then we sort of move into this space of lack. And that's really not what the foot of God is about.
No, it's about
really
abundance.
Who we are.
And you know what? You can't move forward unless you make mistakes, because that's
right.
how you learn. Well, Lori, it has been absolutely fantastic to have you on the show today. I've really enjoyed this, and we are going to have to do this again.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was telling our listeners before we brought Lori on. She really is authentic, and we don't patronize. We are very interested in people who are absolutely authentic about what they do. And listeners, this program is being recorded. You'll be able to hear it again. And do contact Lori and have a biofield tuning session with her. She works anywhere on the planet and probably beyond that. So, please do take advantage. Trust your intuition.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. And I do look forward to being in the ethers with all of you. We're all connected, so thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Lori. We really enjoyed having you on the show today.
So listeners, we are, of course, live right now, and you can always go to Spreaker Radio, where we're being played right now, and look at any of our past shows and listen, download, and have fun with them, because, we do this to help you, and, we really enjoy giving to our listeners something that will help them in their life today. And Lori said it most perfectly, just open your hand and allow, and just let it come in, what needs to come in. So with Lori now offline and Richard and I back online as the team that we are, it's interesting that we have been just going through so much change, and we have so much on our plate that we just love to share.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm still excited about that flower reading that you did via Skype a couple of weeks back.
Because you got time to cover that real quick?
I do, and I wish I had the recording of the gals that were there, and hopefully we'll have that up on our website soon. But we had a little question and answer after the flower reading, and two of the women that came were not even planning on coming, because they thought, what is it that he can do for me? And he's not even here in the room. He can't even see the flower, or can't even see me, and can't hold the flower. And how is he going to be able to connect to that and connect to the flower, even connect to me? They were really, really on the fence. Yeah. And during it was so cute, because, one of the gals leaned over to her girlfriend. And of course, Richard couldn't hear what we were talking about in the room, right, while he was on the other side, and the one gal just punched her girlfriend in the arm and said, "He nailed you." So it was really neat to see that, there really is no such thing as time or space. And when you really tune in and connect with those inner guides and with what is going on, you can really accomplish a lot. And it just doesn't mean flower readings, with Richard doing the flower readings, but it can be part of anything in your life. Anyhow, listeners, we are offering flower readings by Skype. And
anywhere on the planet.
Anywhere on the planet. And I keep hearing Germany, and you keep hearing Italy. And so, this is going to be lots of fun.
It's true.
So please get a hold of us at info@lightnews.org. Go to our website. Or, of course, you can email me at info@lightnews.org. or call us at 877-242-5721. And we would love to help you set that up. In the meantime, Richard has a bunch of stuff going on, including a couple of workshops coming up at the Tibetan Healing Center in San Diego on April 2nd. And he will be doing the hands-on chakra shop, which really is a very good workshop if you want to really start to look at what working with energy is all about, and the human biofield and all of that, because he talks about the chakras and how energy
2nd.
works.
It's an all-day workshop on Saturday, April 2nd.
It is.
San Diego.
Yeah, at the Tibetan Healing Center. And then, of course, on the 3rd, he is going to be at the Expo in San Diego, and New Earth Expo, and that's going to be lots of fun. Then he rushes back to Calgary to do an expo in Canada, the Body, Soul, Spirit Expo, and, of course, teach a class in Calgary at Healers Training in the Northeast.
That's the weekend of April 8, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm. And anybody, listeners, you can go onto our website and sort our calendar and see if Dr. Jelicic is in Canada or if he's in the U.S., what events are coming up. And then you can click on those events, and often there'll be more information or how to register. And it's a really easy way for you to go and find out where Dr. J is, what's going on, and of course, how to reach him. So I think that the most important thing that you need to walk away with today is that he's got some really cool workshops coming up. Of course, April 2nd is the hands-on chakra shop. He'll be at the expo in Calgary, the Body Soul Spirit Expo. He'll be at the Earth Expo in San Diego. And there's only 1 week left for the early bird registration for this
that's
journey
right, for Sedona.
Heart. And we have only 4 spaces left.
The Journey of the Sacred Heart Meditation Retreat in Sedona, Arizona, September 22nd through 26th.
7th. Well,
7.
You travel, yeah. But, anyhow, the early bird registration is closing up on the 31st of March, and then the price jumps up $300. So anyone who is interested, please go take a look on our website, www.lightnews.org. So, with all of that, Richard, I know you've got tons of other workshops going on, and listeners can go to our website and find them. But our show is
rocking. It's lightnews.org, lightnews.org, lightnaws.org. And, Deirdre and my other assistant, Erin, they have been working diligently to upload, upgrade all of the stuff that's on our website. We just have such a wealth of information for everybody, for you, our dear listener, to take advantage of. As well, most of the programs you're going to see in the next couple of months are either in Calgary, Canada, or in San Diego, California. So do check out the website, because that'll tell you where I am, what I'm doing, and where I'm going to be. And as well, we do private sessions, and we offer those anywhere on the planet as well. And I'm really excited about doing these flower readings, because I think that having done flower readings for over 24 years in person, doing them by Skype, by long distance, has opened up a whole new venue where people can have flower readings in their home, and I can come in by computer, and the accuracy, I let them speak for themselves. The accuracy was very, very good. So I'm very excited. Deirdre, I thought we had a great show today.
You know what? I could have listened to Lori for another 2 hours.
No. Exactly.
And she just is an amazing soul. I'm looking forward to seeing her in April when I come to visit.
Yeah, you're coming to San Diego for almost a week in April.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming and visiting everyone down there. It'll be a lot of fun. So, I would just like to say a message to everyone before we sign off today that, life will throw apples and oranges and grapefruits and rocks and whatever at you. And it's really important to breathe, take a moment, step back from any situation that's going on in your life, and know that there is always that silver lining. There is something that we can gain from any of it and turn it into a positive experience, because
Absolutely.
that is what is important.
And remember, everyone, 2 weeks from now on April 13th, we have the big badass of Bold Radio, Kim Boudreaux Smith, is going to be our guest. And, of course, no holds barred for that one. Off script, you better believe it. So, Deirdre and I were so grateful for you, the listeners, that makes the program what it is. Our endeavor is always to take the mystery out of metaphysics and to help the individual empower themselves on their own spiritual journey by making it real, by showing you that this is not airy-fairy, smoke and mirrors, flat earth society, but that what we're offering you is a look into yourself that is authentic, grounded, and absolutely real. So thank you for listening to Light News Radio. I am your host, Dr. J, and my amazing co-host is Deirdre. And of course, check out Light News website at lightnews.org. And of course, as always, may the principles of harmlessness and compassion be the ever constant, ever vigilant guide of your every intention, your every thought, and your every action. And so it is, and so it shall be. It is done. Stay attuned, everyone.
Thank you for joining Dr. J and Deirdre on Light News Radio. Please join us again in 2 weeks, same time, for more exciting tools and techniques for self-empowerment.